Alright, we have just about reached the midway mark in every major professional baseball league in the world. In Mexico and the European leagues, they're already past mid-season. In Cuba, it's already playoff time. Today, let's look at how all the teams are doing all around the world. In Japan, NPB Interleague has just wrapped up. They'll officially reach the middle of their season next week. Lots of low-scoring games, pitchers are dominating this year, and the standings look very different from how they ended up in 2023. Here's how the Interleague standings ended. Rakuten Eagles surprisingly took the top spot. They were in 5th place in Pacific League going into Interleague play, then went 13-5 during Interleague. SoftBank Hawks were good too, 12-6. Baystars, the top Central League team in Interleague, were 11-7. Swallows, Carp, and Buffaloes all finished over 500. Finishing under 500, Giants, Marines, Fighters, Tigers, Dragons, and lowest of the low, the Cebu Lions at 4-14. Pacific League won it overall by 1 game, 53-52. And here's how they're looking overall. Central League first. A winning record in Interleague helped the Hiroshima Carp get to the top. They're 7 games over 500. They have their pitchers to thank for that. Lowest team ERA in all of NPB at 2.18, led by starting pitcher Daichi Osera, who leads the league with a 0.96 ERA. Aren Kuri, Hiroki Tokoda, and Masato Morishita. This team's got a dominant rotation. Also a dominant closer, Ryoji Kuribayashi, 19 saves and a 0.33 ERA. Second place, Hanshin Tigers, the defending Japan Series champions, only 2 games over 500. Their pitching's been good, but a little disappointing at the plate. Third place, Yomiuri Giants, under first-year manager Shinosuke Abe. Abe's in his 40s, but manages like a 75-year-old. Lineup full of power hitters playing small ball. Best hitter batting 4th. But the pitching's been good. Yokohama DNA Baystars, after a strong showing in Interleague, have moved into a tie for 3rd, one of the highest team ERAs. They lost Shota Imanaga and Trevor Bauer last offseason, but their bats have been making up for it, thanks to Shugo Maki, Tsutsugo, just returned to NPB, and a finally healthy, keep your fingers crossed, Tyler Austin. But the pitching is still a concern, and so is the team's defense. 2 teams tied for last. Swallows, just like last year, good hitting, lousy pitching. Domingo Santana leads the league in batting. Murakami is the league leader in home runs. Jose Osuna and Santana are 1 and 2 in RBI respectively. Got a team triple crown going, but also the highest team ERA. Chunichi Dragons are the other last place team. They were in first a few weeks into the season, and have now sunk to the bottom, where they finished at the end of the last 2 seasons. The usual story for the Dragons is great pitching, no hitting. Now their hitting is a little better, but the pitching is not so great. Third-year manager Tatsunami should be out at the end of the season. Pacific League is dominated by the SoftBank Hawks, a 9-game lead at the top. Most runs scored, fewest runs allowed, most home runs, highest team batting, 2nd in stolen bases. Kensuke Kondo was Pacific League's best hitter a year ago, and he's doing it once again this year. They also picked up Hotaka Yamakawa last offseason. He leads Pacific League in home runs and RBI. Lowest team ERA, they converted Levon Moanello into a starter this year. He is now 2nd in Pacific League in ERA. Right behind him with the 3rd best Pacific League ERA is another new addition for the Hawks, Kohei Arihara. A distant 2nd is the Chibalote Marines, 4 games over 500, despite a run differential of -20. Starting pitcher CC Mercedes has been a big surprise, leading Pacific League in ERA, but bad news recently. Roki Sasaki was scratched from his 2nd consecutive start. Third place, Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters, up from last place at the end of last season. 2nd highest scoring team, decent pitching too. Got some power in the lineup. Also lead all NPB clubs in stolen bases. 4th place, Rakuten Eagles, up to 500 after winning the Interleague. Highest team ERA in the league. Not much power, but they've found ways to win lately. 5th place, Oryx Buffaloes, the 3-time defending Pacific League champions. 4 games under 500. Pitching is still strong despite losing Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Sachiya Yamasaki last offseason, and recently Hiroya Miyagi went out with an injury. Don't count them out though, they are always stronger in the second half of the season. But here's a team you can go ahead and count out right now. The Cebu Lions are 19-44, on track to have one of the worst records in NPB history. Hitting is bad, pitching is bad, not much power, not much speed. Manager Kazuo Matsui has already been dismissed. They couldn't wait till the end of the season. The All-Star Series this year will be on July 23rd at Escon Field and July 24th at Jingu. Regular season ends at the start of October. Postseason begins right after. Japan Series will start on October 26th and end on November 3rd at the latest. In Korea, it's been an historic season in the KBO, with the career home runs and hits records coming down. Jung Choi of the SSG Landers is the new home run king, and he's actually having an MVP caliber season. Ah Sup Son of the NC Dinos is the new KBO hit king, as of yesterday. Teams are right about at the 72-game mark in their 144-game schedule, so mid-season in the KBO is right now. Kia Tigers are the leader, 43, 29, and 1. They are the highest scoring team in the KBO. Best starting pitcher ERA, led by the league ERA leader James Nail. Bullpen's not so reliable, but overall pitching is good. Doosan Bears are 2 back, good hitting team with the best bullpen ERA. Third place LG Twins, the defending Korean Series champions, are 2.5 back. Twins have the best home record of any team, second highest scoring team behind the Tigers. Pitching has been their weakness, though not a big weakness. Fourth place Samsung Lions, 3 games back, one of the lowest scoring teams, the lowest team batting. Pitching's good though, led by starting pitcher Tae-in Won. He's second in the KBO in ERA right now. Fifth place SSG Landers, 6 back. Landers of course are led by the new KBO home run king Jung Choi, who's also the OPS leader at the moment. But pitching is a problem. Bullpen's alright, but they have the highest starting pitcher ERA in the KBO. If the season were to end today, these would be the 5 KBO playoff teams. Now for the bottom 5. NC Dinos, 7.5 out of first, 1.5 back in the postseason race. Dinos lead the KBO in home runs, but are one of the lowest scoring teams. 7th place Hanwha Eagles, 10 games out of first, 4 games out in the playoff race. This team finished dead last every year from 2020 to 2022. Just escaped the cellar a year ago. Got some good young players, was expecting some big improvement from this team. But they're taking small steps. They signed foreign hitter Jonathan Perlaza last offseason. He is one of the KBO's top hitters. Also, Hyunjin Ryu returned after more than a decade in MLB. He got off to a slow start, but he's been looking really good lately. Number 8, Lotte Giants. They're actually looking better lately. They were in last not too long ago. 5.5 out in the playoff race. 9th, KT Wiz, 7 games behind the last playoff team. Offensively, they're pretty good. Mel Rojas Jr. is back. He is doing well. But they're surrendering 6 runs per game, the most in the KBO. Overall, worst pitching team. Last, the Kiwoom Heroes. After reaching the Korean Series 2 years ago, they finished in the basement last year, and that's where they are now. They are the KBO's lowest scoring team and have the second highest team ERA. Especially concerning is their .591 bullpen ERA. The worst thing about the KBO has been that outside of Korea we were unable to watch this year. A new streaming service was brought in, but it was only available in Korea. But that all changed a week ago. Soap, however you say it, formerly known as Africa, started showing games and highlights on its app or website. You can go ahead, sign up, and start watching now. A year to remember in Taiwan. The CPBL grew from 5 to 6 teams this year, and they're seeing record crowds they'd never come close to before. The 40,000-seat Taipei Dome opened last off-season, and while it doesn't have a tenant team, it's been used often for regular season CPBL games. Last weekend, the CTBC brothers played a home game there, in front of a record crowd of 32,988. The CPBL plays a 120-game split-season schedule. The first-half champions, second-half champions, and one other team meet in the playoffs in October. As you can see here, the 60-game first-half schedule is just 6 games away from completion, and it looks almost certain that the Uni Lions will win it. 3.5-game lead with 6 games remaining. They got one of the CPBL's best starting pitchers, Mario Sanchez. He leads the league with 8 wins, second-best ERA at 180. CPBL batting leader is Lions outfielder Choi-Hsien Chen. Another Lions outfielder, Ang Koo Lin, leads the league in RBI and is second in home runs. The Rakuten Monkeys are second. Starting pitcher Marcelo Martinez is the league ERA leader. CTBC Brothers are also 3.5 back, with only 5 games left on their schedule. Second in the CPBL in runs scored, first in home runs, but also with the highest team ERA. Fubon Guardians, the usual last-place team, are looking a little better this year. Nivaldo Rodriguez leads their rotation. Weichuan Dragons, 2023 Taiwan Series champions, are 7 games out with only 4 games left. They are first in team ERA, third in scoring, and one of the best fielding teams, but come up on the losing end so often. Last are the new expansion team, the TSG Hawks, as expected, though not as bad as some may have expected. About 5 weeks to go in Mexico, the LMB season will end on August 1st. Playoffs start 2 days later. The Serie del Rey is scheduled to start on September 3rd and end on September 11th at the latest. With one new expansion team and one team returning after a long absence, the LMB is bigger than ever, with 20 teams. Leading the way in the north is Sultanes de Monterrey at 35-20. More of a pitching team, rotation is led by a new arrival, Tyler Visa. It's his first year in the LMB. In second, Algodoneros de Unión Laguna and Tecolotes dos Laredos. Number 4, Acereros de Monclova. 5, Toros de Tijuana. And 6, Rieleros Aguascalientes. 6 teams in each division make the playoffs, so that's the cutoff right now. Close by at number 7 is Seraperos de Saltillo. Then the bottom 3 are trailing quite a bit. Charros de Jalisco, Generales Durango, and the team that was just revived this year, Dorados de Chihuahua. In the south, Diablos Rojos del Mexico are dominating. The guys leading the way are quite familiar names. Robinson Cano is the batting leader and second in OPS. Trevor Bauer is the league ERA leader. Rojos are 30 games over 500 with an 11-game lead. They will surely be the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Second place is Leones de Yucatan, led by LMB OPS leader Art Charles. Third, defending Serie del Rey champions Pericos de Puebla. Fourth, the new expansion team Conspiradores de Querétaro. Fifth, Guerreros de Oaxaca. And in the final playoff spot at this time, Olmecas de Tabasco. Then there's quite a gap. 4 games separate the top 6 from the bottom 4. Those are El Águila de Veracruz, Bravos de León, Piratas de Campeche, and having a really bad year, Tigres de Quintana Roo. Worst record in the LMB. Playoff time in Cuba. The Cuban National Series just ended its regular season yesterday. After 75 games, 8 teams are done, 8 teams move on to the playoffs. And here they are. Number 1 seed goes to Pinar del Rio, led by former Major League hitter Alexei Ramirez and batting champion William Saavedra. Both of those guys are 42. Number 2, Granma. 4 Cuban National Series championships in the last 7 years, but missed the playoffs last year. Now they are back behind the bat of Alfredo Despaine, who joined Granma this year after a decade in NPB. He led the league with 20 home runs, on-base percentage over 500, and slugging over 700. Number 3, defending champions Las Tunas. Numbers 4 and 5, and meeting in the first round, are Santiago and Industriales. The biggest rivalry in Cuban baseball will be a first-round matchup. Number 6, Ciego de Avila. They'll have to face Las Tunas. Number 7, Matanzas. Reigning champions of the Cuban Elite League last winter. They'll be up against Granma in a rematch of the 2022 final series. Number 8, Sancti Spiritus won their final 6 games to sneak into the playoffs. And those are the 8 teams for the playoffs. Tough break for Guantanamo, the team that finished dead last a year ago and is almost always in the bottom 3. They had their best season in years, ended the season on an 8-game win streak, 5 games over 500, tied with Sancti Spiritus, but lost the head-to-head and they miss out on the playoffs. The rest of the teams from 10 to 16, Villa Clara, Mayabeque, Artemisa, Camagüey, Holguin, Cienfuegos. Cienfuegos lost their last 10 games, and dead last Isla Juventud. Czech Baseball Extraliga is now past the 20-game mark in a 35-game schedule. About 4 weeks of regular season play is all they have left. But there will be a long break in the middle. Next Saturday, June 29th, is the All-Star game between the Extraliga All-Stars and the Czech national team. The following Saturday, July 6th, is the start of Prague Baseball Week. That'll run till the following Tuesday, with teams from Japan, Taiwan, Germany, Greece, Slovakia, Austria, Hungary, and of course the Czech Republic all participating. Season will resume on July 20th, go until August 10th. The top 4 out of the 8 Extraliga teams will then advance to the semifinals. Here's how they look now. Rossi Brno is the leader at 16-5, a team with a good balance of hitting and pitching, led by catcher Martin Cervenka, easily the best offensive player in the league, and one of the league's best pitchers in Tomas Ondra. Second place is 24-time champions and 2-time reigning champions Drossi Brno. They are 2 games back at 15-8. Right on their tails are Eagles Praha, half a game out of second at 15-9. And a half game behind Eagles are Eros Ostrava. A big rebound for this team. Eros won the league title in 2021, but really struggled the last 2 seasons. Last year they were second from the bottom and had to play in the relegation round. If the season ends like this, these will be the 4 playoff teams. One other team is vying for a spot in the semis. Trebek Nuclears at 14-11 trail 4th place Arrows by just 1 game. So no one's safe just yet. 5 teams in the running, only 4 spots available. Each team's got a very small lead over the next team. Then there's the bottom three, Tempo Praha, Kotlarka Praha, and Sokol Hluboka. They are no threat at all. It's a 5-team race at this point. Baseball Bundesliga in Germany, about 1 month to go in the regular season there. July 21st is scheduled to be the last day for most teams. There will be at least one makeup game a week later, and then the playoffs begin in August. The teams at the top in both divisions will not surprise you. The Bonn Capitals lead the North at 14-4. Paderborn Untouchables are 2 games back at 12-6. Hamburg Steelers just a half game behind Paderborn at 11-6. Could get shaken up a little this weekend when Bonn meets Paderborn on Saturday and Sunday. Those are the usual top 3 teams in Bundesliga North. Although they're down to just 5 teams in the North, they're still going with 4 teams for the playoffs. Cologne Cardinals will probably get the last spot. They're way back at 4-14. Doran Wild Farmers are last at 2-13. In the South, Legionnaire Regensburg hold the league's best record at 16-4. Heidenheim Heidekep, the defending champs, are 4 games back at 11-7. Those two split their 4 games this year, with the home team winning every time. No more meetings in their final 10 games. Then you have 3 teams that are about dead even, fighting for the last 2 playoff spots. Munich Hard Disciples 9-9, Mainz Athletics 9-10, Stuttgart Reds 9-11. Last place, and not even close, the Hunstetten Storm at 3-16. Serie A in Italy, where you've got 30 teams divided into 5 groups. Just a couple more weeks and they'll narrow it down to 10. The top 2 teams in each group will move on to the first phase of the postseason, where they'll be split into 2 5-team round robins. Don't know why they did this, but the very best teams from last year were all put into Group A, seen here. The 2 teams that met in the Italian Series last year, runner-up San Marino and defending champions Unipolsai Bologna, lead the pack at 15-6. Parma, a semi-finalist in 2023, trails those 2 by 3 games. Time is running out for them. Macerata, quarter-finalist a year ago, is 11-10. BSC Grosseto, the other semi-finalist last year, is out of the running. They are 6-15. BBC Grosseto, last at 4-17. Again, I don't understand why they were grouped this way. San Marino and Bologna look like the best 2, and they'll move on, but some really good teams are going to miss the postseason. Collecchio leads Group B at 15-1. They were not a postseason team last year, but have been strong in the past. Verona 10-6 is sitting in the other spot for now. Poviglio 8-8 still has a chance. Bottom 3, Milano, Settimo, and Modena. Ironically, Modena was the one team in the group that did make the postseason last year. Wonder what happened to them. Group C, Povigo looks poised to win this one at 11-5. Then it's close all the way down. Crosetta 9-7, Cagliari 8-8, Rimini 7-8, Ronchi 6-9, and Padova 6-10. Group D, Nettuno, the winningest team in Italian baseball history, a quarterfinalist 1 year ago, is a perfect 16-0, outscoring their opponents 122-30. Next in line are Godo Knights 11-5, then Fiorentina 10-6, and Athletics Bologna 9-7. Then you have 2 uncompetitive teams, Lions Nettuno 2-14, and Fiorentino 0-16. Group E, Reggio Emilia will advance. They are 14-2. Codogno probably gets the other spot. They are 11-5. And the rest, Catalana 8-8, Clembe 7-9, Senago 5-11, and Torino 3-13. Honkbal Hoofdklasse in the Netherlands. They have already begun the first phase of the postseason. The 9-team, 24-game regular season schedule ended a couple weeks ago. Now we've got 4 teams in the winner's stage, 5 in the loser's stage. 2 teams from the loser's stage will be able to work their way back into contention. Here's how the regular season ended. Curaçao Neptunus finished at the top with a record of 22-2. They were actually 21-0 going into the final weekend before losing 2 out of 3 to Amsterdam. The Amsterdam Pirates, the 2023 Holland Series champions, finished second at 19-5. HCAW, Holland Series champs in 2022, were third at 16-7-1. Those have been the big 3 Dutch teams as of late. DSS Kinheim took the last spot with a record of 12-10-2, their first time in a while reaching the winner's stage, just ahead of RCH Penguins and Oosterhout Twins, the teams that reached the winner's stage 1 and 2 years ago respectively. Here's how they look after 1 round of the winner's stage. Neptunus won 2 out of 3 over Amsterdam. HCAW swept 3 from DSS. But look over to the right, that's the number that really matters. Points from the regular season carry over, so Neptunus is still number 1 for now. Here's the bottom 5 from the regular season. RCH and Twins battle it out with UVV to try and earn their way back into the 16 postseason. I can't imagine the last two teams will be able to challenge for one of those spots. Hoofddorp Pioneers were 4-19-1. Quick Amersfoort 0-24. Just got started in the loser stage. RCH went 2-0 versus Amersfoort to keep the top spot. UVV lost 2 out of 3 to Hoofddorp, but still have the points to remain at number 2. Twins haven't played a game in this round yet. And that's it. That's what's going on all around the world in baseball. It's been an action-packed first half. Should be a thrilling second half, so don't miss it. Anyway, that's all for this one. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.